Hi YouTube family, thanks for joining me today for the Sonnet's Flippin' Frenzy for the holidays. Today I will be flipping some items that Carissa from Starfish Cottage sent me. So let's see what she sent me in the box for me to flip today. So I open this box and look at all the goodies. First we have this little wooden container and it has the white bell and a little tile. And then there's the a little wooden Mary sign with a deer head. And then we have a shadow box, and it's got some cute little presents in it. Then we have a cute little, oh, I think this is so adorable. It's a little container, and then it has a little hat that's an ornament in it. And then we have a extra large wood tag with bless our nest. And then she sends a really sweet little card. So I have some great things to work with. Project 1. So I take the little container and I take Snowdrop from Fusion Mineral Paint and I just give it a good coat of paint. We're going to make him a little snowman. Then I'm going to take and I'm just going to outline where I want eyes and a nose, because I am not a freehand painter or a freehand drawer, so I need a little bit of guidance when it comes to making a face. So I want to be sure I don't mess it up completely. So then I take, I believe this is Ash from Fusion Mineral Paint to do the eyes. And I use the same color to do the mouth. And then I take Tuscan Orange and I'm going to do the nose with Tuscan Orange. And I use the same brush that I used for the Ash in the Tuscan Orange. That's why I took a little bit out of the bottle to do it, because I wanted to make it just a tad darker. And then I'm just doing some little details with the black. And now I'm taking the Snowdrop and I'm using the tip of the paintbrush just to make little eyeballs. Now I'm going to take some distressed ink from Tim Holtz and I am just distressing the sides and the corners. You know, I always have to distress something. Then I'm taking and I wet a brush with a little bit of water and I'm using Fusion Mineral Paint's Curiously Pink, and I'm just giving her some little rosy cheeks there. And I went on a little heavy there, so I wet the brush again and kind of used my fingers to... So now I'm going to take the Fork York Red in Fusion Mineral Paint and I'm giving it a good coat of paint on the lid. And I took off the little wood knob at the top because we're going to give him a little hat with that little hat ornament is what we're going to do with that. So I left there's like a little plastic kind of screw thing in there. I left that in so that I can attach the hat to that. But then I give it a good coat of paint. It takes about two coats, I think is what it took. And then I will take the hat and I'm going to cut the little top off the hanging string. And then I'm going to apply some glue. I tried just to put it on there, and it didn't, I needed to poke a hole in it. So that's what I end up doing. I end up putting some glue on it, poking a hole so that the little plastic screw would go in. So here I am putting some, just using Aleene's tacky glue for this. And it's a good all-around crafting glue. And spreading it out, and then I will attach it to the little plastic screw. And then again, I'm going to come with the Tim Holtz Distressing ink and just distress it around the edges and the corners. Then we have our little Mr. Snowman. Project 2. So here I'm taking the shadow box, and I emptied it all out, and I'm using the DIY color Electrified that came in the Sonnet's Maker's box for September. And I end up giving it 2 really good coats. And then I distress it, and here I am. I'm working on the first coat. Then I give it a second coat, and then I take and I distress it really good on the edges. Then I have some little small items that I have accrued over the year, and I am taking this. I just love this little kitschy Mr. and Miss Santa, and I just cut down, I think I got it off a wreath or something, and I just cut it down and put a bottom on it so I can attach it into the frame when I get ready to. Now I'm taking the back, and I am using some cardstock paper that I got from Hobby Lobby, and it is just a Christmas Carol, and it's in red, and I think it's just really cute. So I'm using that as a background. Now after I have it all down, I'm taking a small piece of the Christmas Joy IOD transfer, and I just cut out a Merry Christmas of it, and I'm putting it just at the top. And I make sure that it's not going to be covered up by any of the little trinkets I'm putting in there. So with IOD transfers, you just use your little plastic stick that comes with the transfers. It's applied with each transfer packet, and you rub it on, and then after you take it off, you want to burnish it, and there you go. It's easy as that. I had this little wreath that I had gotten off of something, and I decide where I want to put it, and I decided it would look good over here right under the A, under a Merry Christmas. And so then I start looking at where I want all my little emblems, my little trinkets here. And I start arranging them how I want. And I'm just using hot glue to stick them down, and I'm just making sure as I put each one in, I'm just making sure that it doesn't get in the way of the Merry Christmas. I also am having, you'll see where there's some items that I'm having to redo. Some of the trees, little brush trees, I'm having to trim the back and the edges so that it doesn't press against the glass and doesn't smush. And then also on the lantern, I have to put a little piece of cardboard. And I put a little piece of cardboard just to lift it up a little bit. And of course, you can't have a Christmas shadow box without snow. So here I am putting some snow, and I just work it around so it will get to the front of the, I'm not really sure if there's a better option to do this where the snow would get in front of the little items, but I just do it this, I did it this way and it worked. Now I didn't mention that I did seal the paint with the DIY clear wax, because with DIY paint, because it's a clay-based natural paint, it has to be sealed. Now as I was looking at it, I just felt like it needed something else. So what do? You take a white handle and you put it on the top. And then I just take some Snowdrop Fusion Mineral Paint and touch up the screws to make them white, because I didn't have any white screws. And so that works. And I think it turned out adorable. Project 3. Now I'm taking this wood tag, and even though the Bless Our Nest is, I like it, but we're going to turn it into something Christmas. So I'm taking that metal piece off, but I'm saving the tacks, because what I'm going to do with it, I want to save the tacks and put the tacks back on. So, which becomes a endeavor in itself, but you'll see it. I take some muslin and I make a little pocket, and I'm just going to hot glue it to the wood tag. Now, any of the IOD or DIY items that I'm using in this video, I'm going to leave a link to Sonnet's website, and it can all be purchased there. Now this next step, my husband is shaking his head, because as most of y'all know, we are packing to move, and at this point we were right in between houses. I couldn't find my hammer, but I could find my screwdriver. So I'm using my screwdriver as a hammer. And guys, it works, so that's all I can say. I do have to go back and hot glue the top of the tacks on a few of them, a couple of them, because the tacks popped off the actual tack itself. So I hot glued the back on. But hey, the screwdriver as a hammer worked. You use what you have. So now I'm just fraying the edges a little bit, and then I'm going to take some Tim Holtz Distress ink, and I'm going to go around the edges and of the fabric, and a little bit on the front of the fabric itself, just to grunge it up just a little bit. So now I just want to add a little bit to the front. So I had this jute trim that I found, and I'm just putting a little bit on the front here, and then I'm going to go over it with just a strip of homespun that's a little frayed over the top of that. So next I'm taking a little, one of the stamps off of Christmas Post. It's from IOD, and then I'm taking the IOD ink New Grass, and I'm just going to put stamp Christmas on the front of it with that stamp. IOD stamps are awesome, especially this new 2025 Christmas season that came out, release that came out is wonderful. And it's a permanent ink. And so now I'm taking a bottle brush tree and I'm cutting it down so it'll fit in the little pocket, because that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to decorate our little pocket. So I just put a little tree in there, and then I have a little gingerbread man that I made that I'll do a future video on them of how to make them, but it's done with cinnamon. And then some little candy canes, and again I'll do that in a future video also, how to do those candy canes. And then some little greenery from a thrifted wreath, of course, where I just took a thrifted wreath apart. And add another, I think it needs another candy cane, so I put another candy cane in there. And I just love the way it turned out. I think it's so cute. But then, you know, I've got to put a messy bow on it. I've got to, with some homespun. So I just take some strips of homespun and I make a little messy bow. And then I'm going to take, and I end up taking that little white bell that Carissa put in the box, and I take it and I put it all together on the outside of this little pocket. And I want to thank Carissa for all the beautiful items that she put in here. So much fun using them and using my imagination on what to do with them. And I hope that you guys stay for the rest of this playlist of this I'll say it in a minute. Flippin' Frenzy. I got it out. Sonnet's Bloomers Flippin' Frenzy for Christmas, for the holidays. And a lot more creatives that are just awesome are going to be after me. And so on getting back to the pocket though, the bell is a little too bright, so I take the Distress ink and I go and kind of grunge it up just a little bit. And I hope you guys stay with us for the rest of the playlist, and y'all have a blessed day.